Big mahalo to Ethan Walker and everybody on the championship committee for doing a really good job putting the bracket together and always put on a good championship. So appreciate their efforts. And just congratulations to the other three teams competing. We've been fortunate to be here pretty regularly, and it's something we never take for granted. So congratulations to the other three teams, and it's quite an accomplishment to get this far.
Billy Hull with the Star Advertiser. Coach, can you kind of just compare where you guys are at this point this year coming into this in terms of mindset, experience, health compared to a year ago?
Yeah, good question. I said last year we were so young and so many new guys on the roster that I really felt getting to the Final Four, getting into the NCAA championship last year was important. And I think it really has helped us kind of keep advancing in the tournament this year. So here we are again with a lot of the same guys. There's no question that the familiarity with it and just kind of understanding what it takes to navigate this week was a benefit from being here before, for sure.
A lot of guys from last year, but you guys that weren't here last year, the two guys next to you. Can you just kind of talk about both Travell and what they've brought to the team and how much they've helped in the process of getting back here?
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons why I picked them to come up here today too, just to kind of get the full experience, and they'll benefit for it as we go forward in the tournament. But couldn't be more thrilled. I mean, not only two great volleyball players, but just two great young men that have represented themselves and the program well all year, and thrilled for them to have an opportunity to compete at the highest level here in the last week of the season.
And then for both of you guys, just what was today like? I mean, it's Pauley Pavilion. It's one of the most famous places to play men's volleyball. Just what was the experience like of walking in here and knowing this is where you guys are going to play tomorrow?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I got the chance to kind of walk campus a little bit this morning, and just walking around and seeing all the faces and just the professionalism of UCLA was definitely something to experience for sure.
Yeah, this is my first time here, so I mean, it was unreal as you always see it in videos, and then now being here in person is crazy, and then being even in the Final Four is even more amazing.
Question for Quentin. There's a lot of Canadian talent in this Final Four. What can you say about all these Canadian players coming to the NCAA and really dominating to see so much talent in this Final Four?
Yeah, I like to see the trend of Canadians coming down to the NCAA and just playing on the top teams, representing pretty well. I know we all text each other after each one. We were all quite excited to see each other and link up, so that was exciting. And I think with each Canadian that comes down to the States, I think it opens up that kind of pathway for other Canadians. I know my club back home is the same club as Will Basilio, who plays for Ball State, but then Andon from UCI plays for a different club, same thing with Daniil plays for a different club, and then even Skylar's from a different province, right? So all these kind of paths that have been open for Canadian athletes to come down to the NCAA, I think is a really amazing thing.
I have a question for everybody. Obviously, with the world of NCAA sports that we're in right now, the transfer portal is a big thing. So question part A, I guess, for you, Coach. Both of these guys, maybe not necessarily the traditional transfer portal, what we think of, obviously, coming in as non-freshmen. Can you just talk a little bit about the importance of using that as an advantage to build out a roster immediately?
Yeah, look, I will always want to take care of our guys first. We build a roster with the intent that they're going to stay there for 4 years, and I look to reinvest in those guys before we go shopping other guys' rosters. Unfortunately, that's the evolution of college athletics right now. The transfer portal is a thing. I can say personally I've never logged on, so I don't really looked at it, but I know it's a thing, and I know there's guys, it's happening more and more. We're certainly not immune to it. We've had guys come in both directions, but like I said, my goal will always be to build our roster and keep guys there for 4 years and get a degree.
And kind of similar question for Quentin, maybe a little bit different circumstances how you both ended up in Hawaii, but when you kind of made the decision to leave where you were, what really drew you to Hawaii, both as a university, as a place to live and play volleyball?
Yeah, so it was a very unfortunate event that made me go into the transfer portal, but knowing the community around Hawaii volleyball is what mainly brought me in, and then like a lot of the guys like even reached out to me, was like, hey, like there's a spot in Hawaii for you if you want, and like just making sure I was okay, and even helping me. Like Finn Kearney, I played with him in club, and then like a lot of the guys that I played with at USA were like there. Even if I didn't go here, like they were still there to support me.
Yeah, and then my first introduction to Hawaii was through the coaches. I had never been to Hawaii before. I didn't really grow up watching NCAA volleyball, so my first introduction was the coaches, and I talked to Capono on the phone first, and he was just very clear about what the program represented, very clear about their goals. He knew exactly what he wanted, and he told me what he wanted, and I thought that was very good. I appreciated his clarity, and then talked to Coach Charlie as well, and I got a chance to meet him in China when we were competing, and again, very friendly, very straightforward, and just I felt welcome from day one.
Questions for both Trey and Quentin. Both of you were able to compete on your national teams this past summer. What about that experience has helped you develop as players and athletes, and now that you are in the biggest stage of this NCAA tournament, capitalize on that experience?
I think the biggest thing is building the connections between all the players, like whether they were on our team or against us, like Adrian, Quentin, and I think like having that connection, it really helped like transition like back into the college season.
Yeah, I think playing for the national team, at least in Canada, the summers are quite long, and we're kind of always in a build-up process, and we're peaking at the end. So I think that had also been mirrored in Hawaii, where we've had a long season, a little bit of a gruesome travel season as well, but we prepared ourselves to kind of peak at the end.
Charlie, if you can talk about just being back here in this, in this gym, and the last time you were here for the Final Four in the national championship, and the amount of Hawaii people that showed up that made this place feel like home. What are you expecting from the crowd and Hawaii fans, and how they continue to support you?
Yeah, that was certainly an awesome experience when we were here in 22 and were able to win the championship. And the number of Hawaii fans that show up, all over the country and certainly here on the West Coast is it's humbling. It really is, and we're so appreciative of their support. I know there'll be a big crowd out there on Saturday night, and we're desperate to get them another win.
And if you can speak to just playing against Long Beach State, obviously a team that you guys are both very familiar with, four-time. What's the mentality going in, having just seen them a few weeks ago in the Big West Championship?
It's a lot of revenge. I mean, they brought it to us, and we just weren't ready. Like we didn't have the drive, and like now we have the drive to bring it to them and give it back to the beating that they gave us.
I'll just say it's personal.
Tiff Wells for the ESPN Home for Travell and Quentin. Biggest change that you've seen from your side, prospectively, from the opening match of the season up until today?
A lot more maturity, like across the board with everybody. A lot more mature. We're a lot closer, and it's fun to like see how much we've grown from the beginning of the season, even though it hasn't been that long. But it's crazy to see how much we've grown maturity-wise.
Yeah, personally for myself, I would say stability. I think just working with the receivers for this season has really allowed myself to be stable. And then for the team, I would say creativity. I think we are now seeing plays that we're just kind of freeing it up, right, and just playing volleyball and trusting each other. And I think those are the big plays and special plays that are happening.
And then for you, Coach, one of your former staff members, now coaching in his first year at Laserdown Academy, speaking of your oldest son, he's in the state tournament next week leading his team as a head coach. Has he reached out for you for advice for next week?
We've spent a lot of time talking, coaching, walking the dogs at night and stuff. So we've talked a lot about whether it's strategy or managing the team. He's got a whole different role this year and having to deal with parents and playing time and other stuff that he hasn't before. So yeah, we're disappointed that he's not here with us this week, as he's certainly been here all along, but he's got his own championship to win, and certainly cheering him on all the way.
This is for all of you. You're familiar with Big West Conference play. You know it's been a grind, but what does it mean to you when you look at that Final Four bracket and 3 of the 4 teams are from the Big West? Start with the coach, then we'll go around.
Yeah, the Big West men's volleyball was something that we started on, and literally all the way back to 2010, and with then our athletic director Jim Donovan and Dennis Farrell, conference commissioner, and You know, it was a long process communicating, and then we got closer. Fast forward to like 2016, all the ADs had switched, and it presented itself again. So we were able to have it become a real thing. In 2018, we were able to play our first season, and like we've said, it's been the best men's volleyball league in the country since its inception. And I think this week just really illustrates that in a very vivid way.
Yeah, I think it's a representation of the grind of the season. I think having no games off in the Big West is a big deal, and everyone has to show up every single night. And I think that grind prepared each team for the post-season play, whether that's away or that's home. Like teams come into Hawaii, they know how to play away, just like UCLA knows how to play UCLA. And I think teams also know how to protect their house as well, like Long Beach at their place for the regional qualifier.
Since I played in both the MPSF and Big West, it's real cool to see the gritty in the Big West as, whether we're home or away, there's grit from both sides of the net, which is really cool.
Charlie, obviously a little bit different coaching staff this year. You made a big addition bringing in Dylan Cruz onto the staff. Can you talk a little bit about what he has brought to the team and kind of his role this year?
Yeah, really just thrilled with Donan's contribution. You know, he's got such a wide skill set, and he's really experienced at all of the different facets of coaching collegiate volleyball. So he's been really instrumental. Like early in the year when we had travel issues, whether all the weather and stuff in January that was hitting the country, he stepped in and made that just so easy to navigate for everybody. And he's done stuff like that. He did it again this week with Kapono Fabian out having a baby, and Donan can step in, and whether it's stepping in the practice gym or, like I said, taking over like logistics and stuff, really valuable to have a coach with that much experience and that wide a skill set.
Hi there, I'm Bryce Moore with KHLN2 in Honolulu. I just wanted to give the players a chance to talk about this. I know Coach, you did a little bit. The fans, what does that do for you folks as players on the court, especially being here away from home? And I know that neither of you were born in Hawaii, but how do you feel that the local community has accepted you folks to the most?
Yeah, the support has been incredible. I mean, there's endless stories I can tell about the support of the fans, whether that's after a win and even better after a loss, right? Where they're there to support you, you can easily bounce back. I think the one story that stands out to me is I was on the bus with Coach Kapono, and we were talking about our games away, and I was like, wow, like we're getting a lot of fans these away games. Like every away game I go to, it's like they're breaking records for attendance. That's crazy. And he's like, Quinton, that's gonna happen at every away game. Like fans are gonna show up to every away game, and you're gonna break records. Like we just travel well, and I think that support is so huge to us, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, like they really have our support off the court, and it's like our duty to have the support on the court with representing the whole state, and it's just amazing to play for them and seeing just like it grow every game of more and more fans coming out to support us.
Yeah, and I'll say one more thing. I think something so special about these fans is they're not just volleyball fans, they're people of the community, right? Whether we're coaching youth volleyball and their parents of the kids we coach, or just the other day I was heading to the doctor's office and one of the nurses was a fan, like it's just these kind of small interactions that you have with the community are just so incredible.